Arturia at Perfect Circuit. I want to thank Perfect Circuit for having us here. Always a great partner of ours. It's a really exciting day. It's launch day. This is the brand new Blu2th. So we're going to go through this. We're going to go through Astrolab. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, it's a super powerful instrument. I'm joined by two very talented musicians. This is Erik Blu2th Griggs, and then we have Jonathan Huber. My name is Kyle. I'm the channel marketing coordinator for Arturia. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through just a little bit of history of the brand, where we've been, where we're going, and then we'll let these guys steal the show. So it's actually our 25th anniversary this year. It's kind of a big deal for us. Arturia was actually founded in Grenoble, France in 1999. It's a beautiful city in the French Alps. It's also kind of known as the French Silicon Valley. Our two founders of Arturia were actually studying in different engineering schools, and they met while playing in the Grenoble University Orchestra. And the first thing that Arturia actually ever released was a VST with the help of Robert Moog. They did a Moog Modular V, and it took a little bit of time to convince Bob that they could make the best possible reproduction of this legendary instrument. But in the end, he was actually really thrilled with the results and gave his final approval. The Moog Modular V was actually one of the first VST instruments on the market and was regarded as a step ahead of other VSTs available at the time in terms of its sound quality and functionality. And this was accomplished because of a technology that was developed called TAE, which stands for True Analog Emulation. And that has actually evolved and is still in use at Arturia today. So speaking of plugins, in 25 years, we've dropped over 70 of them. You're probably familiar with some of them. Starting with our V collection, it contains highly sought after keyboards and synthesizers like the Mini Moog, Yamaha DX7, and the Roland Jupiter 8, just to name a few. Pigments is our own creation. It's our signature synthesizer. It's really powerful yet intuitive. It also notably uses wavetable and granular sound engines. And Blu2th will talk a little bit about pigments and the Astrolab a little bit later. And then finally we have our FX collection, which is a curated selection of just effects from reverbs, compressors, preamps, distortions, and delays. The sounds from many of these VST instruments can be found in Analog Lab. Analog Lab allows you to basically explore presets taken from V Collection, Pigments, and beyond. It's one single plugin to navigate through some of the best Arturia sounds. There's actually a free version called Analog Lab Play, which you can download from Arturia's website. And you can also navigate Analog Lab Play from our Analog Lab series of MIDI controllers. This is an example of one of the most popular ones. It's our Minilab Mark III. And Minilab Mark III ships with Analog Lab Intro, so musicians get started right out of the box. Another big important milestone for us at Arturia was in 2012, the release of the Mini Brew. That was actually our first analog synthesizer that we created and began an entirely new product line, bringing us in from the virtual instrument world into hardware. And the Mini Brew was actually very well received and helped energize the market for analog synthesizers, which were traditionally cost prohibitive. we were able to bring something unique below $500. Fast forward, and then we released the Polybrute. This is our flagship synthesizer. It basically went from being a raw monophonic synthesizer with no presets to a lush polyphonic synthesizer with morphing capabilities. We also should talk a little bit about the Freak line of synthesizers. These are our digital synths. They're modern, versatile, and edgy, and they bridge digital functionality with analog tones. Before we dive into the Astrolab, it would be amiss to not talk about Origin for a second. So Origin was actually an innovative modular synth that we created. So for example, you could do things like patch a mini Moog oscillator into a Jupiter 8 filter to create otherwise impossible synth combinations. And this design process is really kind of what led Arturia down this path. Also, audio interfaces. Before we dive into that, let's mention we've taken our love for virtual instruments and hardware and applied it to the next logical step. So these are our Minifuse audio interfaces. They're great sounding at an affordable price, and they come with a 5-year warranty, which is kind of unheard of for audio interfaces in this class. And then the flagship, the AudioFuse 16 rig. This is really kind of a love letter to electronic musicians and synth players. The concept of the AudioFuse 16 rig is really looking at users' needs. So if you have a lot of synths, you have a lot of keyboards or other line level gear, you need a lot of inputs for that, and you need an interface that makes sense for your workflow. So AudioFuse 16 rig has been designed to make life easier by providing features such as standalone mixing. So that means that you can use AudioFuse 16 rig as a mixer for live performances or DAW-less jamming without having to be connected to your computer. It also features easy to program routing, so you can basically route anything to anything on this and then save those so all your workflow setups are just ready to go. Keep it simple as possible. And since we're talking about keyboardists, we should talk about the stage keyboardist. So there's a lot of challenges that from the amount of gear that stage keyboardists need to the instability from traveling to studio to stage, and that's one of the reasons that we took on this project of Astrolab. There's a growing distance between these two personas, the producer on his computer and then the performer on a digital keyboard. With stage keyboards, you have control, but you also can be limited by sounds and the workflows can be complicated. With software instruments, you have access to classic and modern sounds alike, so think Serum, Pigments, Massive. Modern software sounds have become basically definitions to a lot of certain music genres. And with stage keyboards, sounds are nearly always sample-based. So while on the computer you have access to all sorts of synthesis techniques, extremely modern effects, it offers much more capacity to alter your sound dramatically. Also, looking for sounds on the computer can be done in a much more convenient way. So if you look, you see Analog Lab. It allows you to look for sounds by instrument, by type, who the sound designer is, or even using tags. And on digital keyboards, you still have to dive through menus with limited capacities to find the sounds that you need, and often a limited sound set. So basically, the paradigms of stage keyboards have gotten old. While a lot of other industries, manufacturers have found ways to bring in modern technology, such as using mobile phones, wireless, or Bluetooth, we felt that there was a need to bring this into the stage keyboard world as an example. So this is Steve Porcaro. You can see him, he's using a CS80V on his computer and then on stage. And how does he take those sounds that he's designed on his computer to stage? Currently, there's not really a simple way to do that. So we decided to do something about it, and it's time that we give keyboardists a modern solution. So let's talk about Astrolab. So Astrolab is a stage keyboard combining the power of synthesis, intuitive controls, and an innovative ecosystem. You have access to 1,300 sounds instantly from 30+ legendary instruments, 200 artist tribute sounds, and up to 2,000 sounds included in Analog Lab Pro, which actually comes with Astrolab. You can also filter by type, by instrument, by artist, using the screen dial. It's super high definition, and it even has haptic feedback, so while you're scrolling and navigating, you can kind of feel where you're at with it. So let's walk through it just a little bit. We'll zoom in. You've got your navigation wheel. Over here, you have your preset buttons. So we've basically categorized all these things for you into things like electric pianos, organs, bass. So when you want to basically go through sounds quickly, you can click those and that'll pull all of your available sounds up. You have chord, scale, arpeggiator, and hold. You've got your split and part buttons. You have your instrument macros, and then FX knobs. And I'll have Bluetooth go through all of this in depth with you because it makes more sense when you hear what he's doing. So, and then you've got your mod and pitch wheels and your octave buttons as well. And it's 61 semi-weighted keys with aftertouch. So I think that's enough of me rambling. Let's have you go in and show these people what this thing can do.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Why not? So we got an Astrolab here, right? What I love about the Astrolab is that it is perfect for a beginner and it's perfect for a pro. And that hardly ever happens. It's perfect for any live situation. I know that church musicians will love this. It's very easy to get where you need to go. Only what you need is in front of you. It's not a bunch of confusing knobs and everything. If I never knew about this keyboard and sat down at a gig to play, I would not be intimidated and I know what to do. This has effects. You know what it is? It's effects. Makes sense, right? Some things just have knobs. It doesn't say anything. It's like, I'm just going to twist this and hope everybody's happy. So, for instance, I've got 0 through 9, which is 10 buttons here. If I want to go to EPs, okay, this is electric pianist. All right. That's fantastic. Okay. It's a little bland. Let me see what I can do to it. Oh, okay. A little delay there. I don't have to stop. I can continue playing. More delay. Little back and forth there. About this too. While I'm playing this, I can change. It's now an organ sound. It won't change until I play it again. So it'll hold whatever you're playing. And also, just kudos, just as an organ player, just kudos to you guys because it has one knob for drawbars that works in a way that you would as an organist. That's like, a lot of times we get the feeling that these things are made by software engineers that have nothing to do with music. And it's so not intuitive. And we got to figure all that out. But this, that's the percussion. I just turned the percussion off. Okay, cool. I wanna be soft right now. I want my Leslie to be here. And it is. Okay, see that? That's not just an EQ. That's actually pulling out a drawbar. Oh, he's talking again. Let me go back down. That sounds... Okay, you guys aren't excited. I'm excited about it. As an organist, I'm excited about it. That's pretty cool. And then if I'm here and I want to hold this, which of course there would not be a pedal with an organ, but if you need one, let me get back to my Rhodes situation. Bring the timbre down, the brightness down, and I'm here. Too much reverb. Let's just pull it down. Okay, that's nice. I want to add a pad to that. I'm just going to go by types. This makes so much sense. And I'm going to pick pad. Okay. Oh, it's too loud. I'm playing. I'm back to my job. I'm enjoying myself. I'm not trying to figure out a piece of gear. All I gotta do is hold that, and I get the level. That's what I'm gonna need when I do that. It's an intuitive keyboard. And I still have effects. Another cool thing, right? Okay, I want leads right now. I just found my new favorite lead before this live started, which is, you know what? Let's do it here. Let's do it here. I can do it here. Okay, so it's called Soft Reso Lead. There's a heart next to it because I favorited it.
Are you telling me you can change the patch on your phone?
I'm telling you, you can change the patch on your phone.
That's amazing.
The only issue with that is someone else could change the patch on your phone. So keep your phone handy and make sure no one else on the gig. You can tell why that might be my favorite. Okay, look. Okay, this makes sense. Let's just talk about how much sense this makes. That's what I want from a mod wheel. A little dry. Put some reverb on it. Okay, let's put some delay on it. Everybody started to play. I need a little bit more brightness. It sounds good at every level of brightness. If I hit this movement thing, it gives me another octave. Sorry, I'm having too much fun. I'm supposed to be talking about it, but that's the whole thing about this keyboard, actually. Okay, so you can also, if you like, so if you have a terrible idea, you can save it for later recall. Just so you can hear how bad you were. It's a humility device. Make sure you don't feel too... Okay, I just hit ARP. This is the same sound. I haven't changed anything. I hit ARP. You know what? That's too slow. It's too slow. So, let's see what we'll do, all right? We're going to go... You know what? I don't like that pattern. That pattern's making me angry. So I just need it to be over 3 octaves. So I'm going to start lower. Yeah. You know what? It's just going up and down. It's getting on my nerves. Let's go up and down and do some weird stuff. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's one sound. There's 90 things with one sound. Okay, all right, so I got this here. Now, these buttons can be used to pick which family of instruments you're dealing with. EPs, organs, bass, leads, keys, pads. But they can also be a playlist for a show. So if you're doing a show, you can hit playlist, and then you have 10 different things to go through in your playlist. Guess what you can use to save your playlists? So if you go to a gig and they have this, all you have to bring is your phone. That's it. And you just pick your playlist, go here, and you have everything here. You can change it here. You can give it to Ian. Ian, just change patches, if you will, just as you want to. See what Ian does. Hey. about that for a second. That is a pigments patch. Who knows about pigments? Anyone know about pigments? That's an instrument by Arturia, which can be part of the whole Analog Lab situation. So Analog Lab is all of their instruments, or at least most of them, in one place. So it's also, so you can think of Contact, but it's more about instruments, right? So all of their stuff in one place. So you can instantiate one plugin and go to all of their instruments. That is in here. So as for Pigments, if you buy Pigments, you can load everything in Pigments directly in here. So never before has there been a solution where a producer could produce something in a studio and then take that specific sound to the stage. Not a version of it, not work with a Moog and try to find out how to get. It's the same exact sound you have at home. You just loaded it that fast, as fast as he just changed his patches into the keyboard, whether it be your keyboard or just tell him to have it when you get there and you don't even need to take it. Guys, you don't even need to take it. Your overhead can have something else in it, in the plane. This is, give me another patch, Ian. Just give me another patch. Oh my God, okay. That's Pigments too. Hey. Okay, so what do I need to talk about? What am I missing? Anything else I need to talk about?
I think you've covered a lot of it. Just the fact that you can design your sounds on your computer.
Yes.
You can design them on the board itself, as you showed. It's really easy. You can use your phone to control it. And if the place has the board, then all you need is your phone.
All you need is your phone. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right, so let's go into, give me 1 second to pull up my next prezo. Let's go to Polybrute 12.
Great. Can you guys hear me decently well? Yeah. Great. Hi, my name is Jonathan Huber. I'm a keys player based out here in LA, and I'm super, super excited to introduce you guys to this beautiful beast, the Polybrute 12. Woo! Woo! Give it up. So the Polybrute 12 is a Polybrute, but with 12 voices of polyphony and a new custom designed MPE keybed. That's really, really exciting. So how many of you, show of hands, are familiar with the original Polybrute that's right over there on the wall? Okay, a few of you guys, great. So to you, it will be very familiar straight away. It's still a Polybrute. You still have the amazing mod capabilities. You have 3 envelopes, 3 LFOs, the mod matrix that everyone knows and loves. You still have the same expression control as before, such as aftertouch, expression, pedal inputs. You have the XYZ Morphe controller over here and the ribbon controller. And you still have morphing, which is a concept that's kind of exclusive to the Polybrute line, where every patch basically on the Polybrute is 2 patches. You have an A patch and a B patch, and you can morph between them seamlessly with this knob here. Or by this Morphe controller. It's a great feature that I've never really seen on other synths. That's kind of the bread and butter of this synth. And it just, you find these little happy medium zones in between the patches that just get you lost kind of in sound design heaven for hours. And it's not just crossfading the patches, just to clarify. Oh, sorry, what?
Once you're ready, he's got some slides to present.
Oh, I thought you were just handing it off to me.
Oh no, it's all good. He's doing a great job.
We can tag team this if you want. Tap in.
No, I mean, you know, to Jonathan's point, this additional 6 voices really brings out the ability to play colossal pads without losing voices. You know, the full touch key bed technology it's patented, it's ours. Like, this is a brand new thing, and I'll actually have him show you how it works. Because if you want this to be just a traditional synth action, you know, board, it does that, but these additional capabilities really open up the expressiveness of the machine itself. Yeah, I mean, I don't really think I have much else to add. You're killing it. So.
Oh, thanks. All right. Then.
I'll hop in if I think of anything that you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sure. So yeah, I was on morphing. You can still morph. It's got the two kind of pads there. What else was I on about? Oh, I should mention there's a firmware update, the 3.0 that they released kind of recently. That came out with some new functionalities as well as a whole bunch of presets. I think like 400 presets for the Polybrute, and that'll also be included in the Polybrute 12, along with 100 new presets peppered in throughout that feature some of the unique kind of functionalities of this keyboard in particular. So what are those unique features? Basically, the first one I'd like to talk about is it's double the voices. So sign me up right away. More polyphony is great. That means that it's a little thicker, it's large, taller, because they had to stack the 2 rows of voices on top of each other. It also introduced a little bit of heat into the system. So what they did, rather than trying to install some noisy fans, they installed this back section over here, which hopefully you can see somewhere. It provides like a chimney effect where the warm air gets sucked out of the instrument, because if we paid attention in our high school science class, we know that warm air rises and cold air sinks. So it's a nice little passive dissipation solution for the instrument, and you can still play it out at your live shows outside, and you don't have to worry about the heat. So that's great, and I really like the form factor of the new, the body of it. It reminds me a lot of like some classic Oberheims or the CS80 kind of shape, and I know this has nothing to do with the sound, but I really love the look of it. It looks really beautiful. You got this like cream colored metal, wood, and it looks like leather. I don't know if it's real leather. Side panels, these colors are just beautiful, but I digress. Back to the sound.
Had an Oldsmobile station wagon. So
oh yeah?
It's definitely nostalgic for me.
Yeah. Remember when we wanted to have our cars have belts that time?
Yeah, and carburetors, yeah.
It's funny. But anyway, back to the voices. So there's 12 voices. More polyphony means less voice stealing. You can have bigger unisons. Let's just play a sound really quick. Here's this layer called Fat Saw. Maybe clipping. I'm definitely clipping. I'll turn it down.
It's loud. It's loud.
It's too fat for its own good. Let's try this bass sound over here. So this is a great sound. One thing you can do is you can go into the settings here. I can go to synth voice, and I can go to voicing, and then I can go to unison voice count. I can choose how many voices I want in this unison pad. So the first option is 2. I can go to 3. 1 more. I have 6. I can do. You can hear it getting fatter already. And then you got 12. All 12 voices. Oh my god. That's crazy. So let's go back to 2 for 1 second.
Right.
It's great. It's still great, but 12?
Woo!
Yeah, it's wild. So that's an example of some of the stuff you can do with double the voices, with 12 voices. The next functionality I wanted to talk about is the new keybed. Arturia worked really, really hard on making this keybed feel really premium, and I think they did a really great job. I play a lot of keyboards, and I love the feel of this one. And I do prefer it over the previous Polybrute, no shade to that one, of course, but this one feels excellent as a player. And I think one of the reasons is that the key is a bit longer. It extends into the body of the keybed, or the board, a little more. And that makes the mechanism a bit closer to a piano, where rather than tilting around here, where like the keys are, the pivot point is a bit further back. So it just feels a lot better. They also implemented Poly Aftertouch. So woohoo! I made a quick just saw wave to kind of showcase that. See, you can. Great, Poly Aftertouch. But wait, there's like way, way more to the keybed. So Arturia came out with this thing for the Polybrute 12 called Full Touch. And basically what that means is that the instrument can track the position of the key at any point. And that can be mapped to different things. So if I go over here on a patch, there's this Aftertouch button over here. I can switch it from normal mono Aftertouch, which you have if you want, to Poly Aftertouch, which is great. And then I can go to Alt, and then these three options come up on the screen for Full Touch. So let's talk about these individually. We have Full Touch AT, which stands for Aftertouch, and that takes your Aftertouch from the mod matrix and assigns it to the Full Touch. So you have the entire range of the key, rather than just when you're done pressing the key, you have a little bit of wiggle room for Poly Aftertouch. So it just adds a lot more control than you would have with just normal Poly Aftertouch. And I have it mapped right now to just open the filter as I press, and I can choose if I want it to be, I can just press the key down, or if I very slowly, it tracks the entire, and that's Poly, so I can just wherever I have my key. It's really intuitive. Let's talk about the next mode. So Full Touch, AT, and Z is basically that, but also more Poly Aftertouch. So it's kind of, you have the two regions of the key, right? You have where you have the key going down, and then it hits something that you can feel, like a spring down there, and then it goes into where you would normally have Poly Aftertouch on other synths that you're familiar with. So this has the Aftertouch in the mod matrix go to Full Touch, and then once you're at the bottom, you can assign more Poly Aftertouch to the Z source in the mod matrix, which is this last row here. So it's basically just like having double Aftertouch, which is insane. So here I have the same patch where my Full Touch is opening the filter. And once I get to the bottom, I can do Poly Aftertouch to, I set it to put the oscillator up a whole step. So I can.
That's crazy.
It's kind of nuts.
I'm gonna need that patch.
Yeah. It's literally just a sawtooth wave on Full Touch.
Come on, man.
It just sounds great. Yeah. So the last Full Touch mode that I'd like to talk about is Full Touch Envelope and Aftertouch. So this kind of recreates or rethinks how you would use the envelopes and how they're triggered. So rather than just a gate signal of just on or off from the trigger of the key, it tracks your finger exactly. So if I just put all this down, all the attack, decay, sustain, release, I can track the envelope just by using my finger. So if I very slowly, I don't know if you guys can see this on the, oh, you can. Okay, great. So it follows my finger exactly, and as I lift it up, it starts to decay. And if I want the attack to be a little bit slower than my finger, say I'm like pushing it down a little bit too fast, I can raise the attack so it is a little smoother. Same thing goes for decay. If I want it to be a little bit slower than my finger raising, I can add some decay. Let's put this release up just a little bit so it doesn't just cut off as soon as my finger. Anyway, we can talk about release next. That's just what you'd think after you lift the key. How long does it take for the amplitude to go back to 0? And sustain is interesting, where if I have sustain up, it kind of stops the sound from decaying. See, like as I raise my finger, it keeps the amplitude up. So that's how the envelopes work with the envelope full touch mode. There's also, finally, velocity, where if I want, say I have very low attack, it's still going to just follow my finger. But if I want, I can make a more plucky kind of sound if I bring in some velocity. Maybe I'll put some resonance on there. Yeah. But I can still have very soft pads at the same time, just how I play the key. And if I pluck, let's get some release in there. So this is a really interesting implementation that I've never really seen on another synth, the transition from plucky to legato just by how you're playing it just with your fingers. And it gives you a lot of expressive control versus having to map a bunch of complex mod matrix, destinations, which you absolutely can do, but it's great to just do it with your finger instead. So hopefully that's just a good crash course on what makes the Blu2th different from the Blu6. I'd like to just kind of play some of the sounds and shut up a little bit so that you guys can hear it. Here's the expressive sextet patch on here. And one last thing is you can see the mode of full touch on the screen on the presets that are selected. So that's kind of convenient to know which kind of mode you're on. So nice.
I couldn't help it.
You can't help it. Of course you can't.
I couldn't help it.
No, that's great. Let's see. Let's play a crazy bass sound, although it's already clipping, so I know this is going to clip it. Or maybe it's not.
The bass sound.
All right. Yeah, you can still get all the metallic metalizer sounds from the oscillator 1 and the Steiner-Parker filter. It can be really, really aggressive, or it can just be really great for pads, especially being able to control that with your fingers like that.
Something else I want to call out too. We wouldn't drop a board like this without software.
Oh, yeah,
so
absolutely.
This comes with Polybrute Connect. So if you want to edit your patches on your computer, upload them into the board, this makes it easy to do it.
Absolutely.
It's what we do. We do software, so I wanted to call that out too as well.
Totally. And I love seeing on the software when you're using the morph knob, especially, because you can see all the parameters changing while you turn the knob, which is really cool. But yeah, super, super helpful to have the app for it. This one's really fun. It's got PolyTouch mapped to this LFO and the speed of it. So you can just have them all independent.
The Brazilian spider monkey of northern Germany, commonly found in Compton.
Nice. I was playing, you guys probably heard this earlier, but a patch that I like to play a lot on synths, or like one of the first patches I make on synths when I get them, is this whirly patch that I like to make, because my favorite instrument of all time is my day that it's in my room at home. And so I love making a whirly kind of sound.
I love this patch.
Very nice. But I've also never had the opportunity to morph it into something else before. Thank you. Or find something in between on this morphe. It's so nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Killer.
Yeah. In conclusion, the Blu2th is a very capable 12-voice synthesizer, and honestly, I would buy it if it were just a 12-voice polygroup by itself. But they added all this crazy expressive capabilities of the full touch that I haven't really seen in other synths done this way. So
Awesome.
Great job, Arturia.
Yeah, thank you so
Yeah.
much, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Can I talk a little bit about the software on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this solves another problem. Arturia is really good at solving problems that we as musicians have all the time. And one of that is choosing between digital and analog. It's always a give or take. With analog, you get fatness, you get the sound, but you don't get the recallability. So if you come back in 2 weeks and you want to change a part of it, you got to figure out or take a picture of it or all that. You can't recall it. Yeah, Arturia made a piece of software that basically makes this into a VST. So it's as if you were just using a VST. It just happens to be that the sound is coming from an actual analog synth. And every knob on this entire thing is represented on your screen. And one of the things we have to understand about morphing, he said it's not just crossfading and EQing. We're actually morphing from one thing to another. So if you hit that morph and you change it from A to B, you see every single knob go to where it is for the other sound on your computer screen. If you're, well, of course, they're not going to make these all motorized because it costs way too much. But on the screen, you can do that. So you can see every single thing go to where it's going to be and end up there, and all the places in between. It's just crazy how nothing sucks. Everything between A and B. You would think like maybe A.5, not really sure. No, it's actually all really good. I don't know how they did that, but you can make them yourself as well. And then when you make them yourself, they're easy to save.
Yep.
So you can always go back to it because it's software. So you can think of this as a VST.
Mm-hmm. That's something I like too. When you're in between the morphing, there's this like copy from wherever you are to A or B. So like if I'm in between and I'm like, you know what, this is actually what I want A to be, then you can just do that, which is great. Yeah.
Cool. I think this is like when the piano came out. I mean, I'm not that old, but I feel like this is like when the piano. So when the piano, so okay, there was the harpsichord, right?
Yeah.
And the harpsichord, you took a harp, you put it on the side, and you plucked it because everyone plucks a harpsichord. So they just put the fingers as little things on the inside that plucked it. And it was like, oh my God, this technology is crazy. I need a harpsichord in my house. So everybody got a harpsichord in their house. What they realized, when you pluck it, you don't get dynamics. Mm-hmm. So you get everything not touch sensitive, which we have a problem with even today on certain keyboards. But then they came out with something that instead of plucking, it hit, or mallet hit the strings. We call that the pianoforte, the soft loud. It's literally called the soft loud because it could do that, and nothing else at the time could do that. And everybody's like, oh my God, now I can play soft analog. You mean if I just hit this soft? This is like that on human growth hormone, actually keyboard growth hormone.
Yeah.
Because you got every place where you put your finger from top to bottom being red, and the bottom, and just the top if you deal with the velocity as well. So you are in control, and you have knobs here, but you don't have to touch them. You can just touch the keys and pretty much get what you want.
And it does all that without changing what the key bed is, you know, in general. As a piano player, it's really nice to, like, even the first thing I noticed when I played this board was, wow, it feels really great. I didn't even know there was any, what full touch was, but it just felt amazing to play. And you have the option to put it on or to leave it off and just play however you want. And you don't need to relearn how to play the piano because it's just the keys that you already know, you know? They just feel really good, and they can also do crazy stuff. It's nice.
Cool. Well, I think that about sums it up. I want to leave some time for questions. If anyone has them, we'll do our best to answer away.
Do you have any questions?
This is crazy, but what's the difference between the two keyboards?
Between the Astrolab and the Polybrute? The Polybrute is a completely analog board. Astrolab is digital, and it's really more of the use case of who can benefit from it. I think composers, stage musicians will be really thrilled with Polybrute, the amount of expressiveness you can get out of it. People who are doing a lot of producing in their bedroom and also performing on stage and don't want to have to dial a bunch of stuff in when they're playing live, they're going to really love Astrolab. So it's almost like this is the simple and this is the complicated. So we kind of have a little something for everybody.
Yeah, and kind of instrument based as well. Like, I wouldn't really have a piano sound on this, like, but you can play a piano on here. You know, this is an analog synthesizer, so all the sound comes from these oscillators and wave shapes and stuff. So you make synthy sounds, but this has like Rhodes and organ and piano, but also synth sounds as well.
Cool.
And Polybrute 6 patches are fully compatible with on the 12, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, they're there, right? Those
Yeah.
patches are in a bank on the device, and you can use the full touch on those patches too.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I gotta say props to you guys. I just got a chance to feel the key bed before, and it feels like a really high-end guitar key bed.
Does. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's your own design, right? The key bed.
Yeah, it's our own patented design, and you know, it's interesting. There's a reason I'm not playing. It's because I'm terrible. But the first time I tried this, it's so intuitive because you feel what you play. Like where you feel like you should play soft, it delivers what you would expect out of the key bed. It's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
People who score as well.
Oh yeah,
God, dude, scoring.
My one concern whenever I see like new Poly Aftertouch key beds is just like, are they gonna feel like a traditional
Right.
key bed? This thing really does feel like a real good synth action key bed, but with that extra feel. So nice job.
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Yeah.
I'm guessing, I think I already know the answer to this, but I want to hear it. A full touch to the morph parameter. Is that possible?
Ooh.
Do you not push down, will then morph between your A and B?
That's probably possible. I haven't tried that.
Technically, it has to be possible because you could
Yeah, I can go here.
map, but that'd be a lot of mapping.
Let me go to 8, and I go morph, and then I'll set that to aftertouch. Well, which patch am I on right now? Actually, I gotta know that. Let me go to a basic patch. Let's do that. Let's go to mods, and then let's go 4, and then morph, and then I want that to be aftertouch on this one, and the amount. Oh, but I gotta change the second patch. Okay.
You got to create both patches.
I gotta make another patch or else it's not gonna do anything. So let's go to this one and let's say it's this. Let's put that. Let's put resonance like really high. Okay. Okay, there we go. So now let's do that. Morph 100%.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Or you can, that's just poly after touch. Let's try full touch after touch. So when okay, so this is the saw wave. And as I get lower to the bottom, you can, yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It works.
Yeah, it does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To answer your question, absolutely.
I do be doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. How are we on time, Ian? Are we?
We got 10 more minutes if
10
we
more
like
minutes?
for a Q&A. I'm asking some guys on the
In the chat?
the YouTube here in the chat if you have any questions as well. Let's see here. 1 second. How many parameters can map to Z at once?
Oh,
detailed question
Yes.
for you.
what is 8 times 4?
Right.
Yeah, 8 times 4. That's the answer.
8 times 4.
Yep.
32.
32.
2.
Yes, okay. 32. Anybody else in the chat have any questions? More than happy to
Can
answer
we
for
talk a
you.
little bit about the matrix while they're doing the questions?
Yeah, the other thing too, I think we passed on was stereo mode.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's this great knob here, and you can make everything stereo.
Yeah, so you can
Fantastic.
split and layer in stereo mode, so you
Yep.
can have 2 sounds coming out of each side.
And you can do the filters stereo as well if they're in parallel or is it series?
I am not sure.
If they're in parallel, yeah, they can be stereo.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, I have a question. So, like, with the 3.0 firmware, you can make it act like a Super 6 now with, like, half
With the
on
binaural thing?
half of the voices on the left channel, half on the right. So is it now, like, 6 and 6 on each side?
Yeah, I think you can layer and pan them. You can, yeah, I'm sure you can do that.
Yep.
And you can make an init patch and have a layer and the A be on full left and the B be on full right and put them in or however you want to do it. I love just turning this knob and going from mono to stereo and seeing how wide you can get.
Yeah, so in a live situation, that's
tuning them.
2 different sounds happening at the same time, left and right. But in a studio situation, that's layering at the same time on 2 different channels to give you the control of how you want to mix those later and just play one time and get both of those on 2 mono channels.
Absolutely.
I have a question with the Astro. Is it just like a Pigments emulator, or can you put other Arturia, VST patches into it?
You can put every Arturia patch in there.
So it stimulates the whole.
Yeah, you literally see the instruments
So
on
it's-
this little screen.
Yeah, so it comes with Analog Lab, and Analog Lab has 1,300 presets from all of our VSTs. But to like your point earlier, if you own something like Pigments, you have access to everything in the board with Pigments. So V Collection, I believe it's V Collection 9 currently,
9, yes, 9.
has compatibility with V Collection 9 instruments. So yeah, it's only going to get bigger.
So it emulates the whole software because say you create a patch on your machine, you upload into it, and then inside of it you could change
Yeah,
everything.
You can add effects to it. You can use the smart knobs to change different parameters on the sound. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Any other questions, anybody? Yeah.
Is there going to be a bigger version of the Astrolab available?
We get asked that a lot. I don't know as of yet. All I can say is we hear the feedback.
Here's what you can do, though. So, of course, they also make some of the best controllers in the world. So, if you slap this baby. Okay, so you got part 1 and part 2. You can layer here as well. And you can put those on 2 different channels. So you could have this on a rack here, and you can have this on the keyboard stand here, say an 88 key controller. And this is referring to channel 2 from here. So this is the brain for both keyboards. But you have even more knobs on the one down here that you can adjust whatever you want to. So you kind of get the best of both worlds with this being the brain, and you get all the keys as well.
Yes?
What's the suggested reach on the Blu2th?
So the Astrolab is $15.99 and Polybrew 12 is $39.99. And we are actually running a little deal for you guys. For anyone tonight who wants to either pick up Astrolab or Polybrew 12, we're including our free wooden legs. There's normally $200. They're really, really beautiful. Adds a whole new kind of, nice
legs.
Touch. Yeah. But yeah, so anybody who wants to either pre-order a Polybrew 12 or pick up an Astrolab tonight, we'll toss those in for you.
I got a quick question actually about the legs. Which are of all the Arturia stuff, which are the legs compatible with all the synths?
Not all. So the legs are compatible with obviously Polybrew 12 and 6. They're compatible with the Astrolab. They're compatible with the Keylab 88 series and the Keylab Essential 88, I believe. And I think that's it, right, Ian? Is there anything else?
The 88 Essentials, not the 61s?
I don't know. I don't think the 61s.
Not the 61s, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions, anybody? Online, any other questions?
Cool. Well, I
Cool.
want to thank everybody for coming out.
Thank you.
And taking time to check these products out. You know, we've got a little bit of time too. If you want to come up, see these boards in person, give them a spin. That's what we're here for. So thanks again, Perfect Circuit, and thank you guys for watching and coming out.
Cool.
Now, who wants to try?
Have a good evening.
Nice. Can I take this
Yeah.
mic off?
Yeah, can we
Are we?